Hello, hello. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here for this presentation on Social Media 101. I think we all understand social media in some capacity. We know that sometimes late at night we're doom scrolling, just scrolling and scrolling until we fall asleep. But what is social media specifically, and what is it for small businesses? And that's what we are going to cover today. So we'll give it about one more minute here and I'll get my presentation set up and we will get started. All right. Let's switch gears here. All right. So, social media 101. If that's what you are looking for, then you are in the right place. My name is Jennifer McCardle. I am the owner and founder of McCardle Media. Started my business a few years ago, but I've really had a passion for this for the last several years. And I share this information because I want you to know that I am constantly staying up to date on what's going on in the world of digital marketing. It is constantly changing. And when I say constantly, I mean daily. It is so bizarre to me how one day I can open up Facebook and I know where to go for my business page, right? I click on this button, I go here, and then something looks different. I'm sure some of you can relate. I'd say raise your hand, but I can't see you. Um, it's just incredible to me how much is constantly changing, not just with the platforms, but with who's using the platforms, what's available to us, the way that ads work, that changes constantly. So I show this to show that in my background, I stay up to date on this constantly, really, so you don't have to. um, so I'm headquartered here in Livonia, Michigan. If you're joining from Michigan, let's look out the window. It's decent weather today. But I do have clients all over the nation. So I've had some clients in Texas, Georgia, California, Ohio. Um, I do tend to work with clients just based in the US. And being able to work remotely, I can work with you wherever you are. If you're a Michigan based company, but you decide to take vacation and go to Florida for a couple of months, I can still work with you and your business because in this digital world, as we've learned with COVID, it's so easy to be able to communicate and do things online. And for me, fortunately, the where my business is, Facebook, digital marketing, it's all online. So for those of you who get to have a break every once in a while from social media, if you take what do they say, like a digital media detox, I envy you because I live and breathe this every day. So what I do is social media for small business. My tagline is it's time to go social and we make it simple. And that's important to me because it is so complex, right? So there's this joke that it's with digital marketing, it's the best of times and it's the worst of times. It's the best of times because there's so many ways that you can reach your customers online. It's the worst of times because there are so many ways you can reach your customers online. Where do you spend your time? Where do you spend your marketing dollars? I try to work with small businesses to determine what would be the right step for them to, one, keep it simple, and two, in terms of their marketing dollars, how can we stretch those the most? It's probably not to be on every social media platform in the world, but there may be one or two simple things that we can do to move a business along. That's where we focus. So, our mission is to enable and empower small businesses to be successful on social media. And I'll talk a little bit more later about what that looks like. But that could be from me being able to teach a small business owner how to do this themselves. Totally want to empower people who want to learn and do it themselves. Let's do that. On the other side, if you say, I don't want to touch this social media stuff. I don't even want to be on social media. Someone do it for me. That's where I'm able to enable business owners to have that online digital marketing and social media presence without them actually having to show up online. Uh, so, like I mentioned, our specialization is in social media, and Facebook is our main platform. So, I've got four platforms listed here: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And as you either know or will learn through this presentation, there are so many platforms to be on. Now, let's say if you want to be on one of those other platforms, that's great. I can help you talk through what that looks like and how to best position yourself on those platforms. So, if there's anything digital marketing or marketing related in general, I'm definitely here as a resource for you, because if I don't have the answers, I like to say I've got these arrows in my quiver where you have a question about something. I have a great network of other marketers that I can refer you to. And when it comes to what we do on social media, our primary focus is organic content. So, what does that mean? That's the posts that you make without paid ads. So, that's our primary focus, where we create content, we post and schedule content for people. And then community management, that's a fancy marketing term, where what that means is when people they're on your page, they're either commenting on a post that you've made, or maybe they're sending you a direct message asking you questions. On the community management side, what I'm able to do is answer those questions for people. So let's say they have a question: are you open Monday? What are your hours on Tuesday? I can reply to those posts for you. Now, if they have a more in-depth question, when is my loan due? Oh my goodness, I can't help them with that. So instead of saying, well, call the bank Monday at 9 a.m., what I can do is reach out to someone at the bank and say, this client needs to speak to someone about a loan, and get them connected directly to that person so they're not falling through the cracks. Community management, customer service is a big side of social media, and that's something that we'll discuss in another webinar, and I'll talk about that toward the end. So who do we serve? Business to consumer, small businesses, entrepreneurs, and solopreneurs. If you don't fit in that category, that's fine. We've worked with nonprofits, we've worked with business to business, small businesses. When I'm talking today and I'm referring to small businesses, I'm using that as a sort of an umbrella term. You could be a government entity, a nonprofit, B2B company, whatever you are. I'm kind of using that as an umbrella term to a lot of this applies to just about everybody, that wants to market what they're doing. So at McCardle Media, we offer a personal approach with hands-on support. If you jump onto something, and let's say you're watching a YouTube video about how to set up your Google My Business account, and it's walking you through these steps, and then you get to a spot where, hey, this doesn't look the same. Yeah, they change things constantly. And so that's where we come in. If you have a question, send us an email. If you have questions, let us know. We'll try to respond as quickly as we can and get you those answers, because it can be frustrating when you're trying to move something along in your business. You're excited about setting up your Google profile, and then all of a sudden you're stuck. Instead of putting that on the back burner, I'm here as a resource for you to answer those questions so you can move forward and get your business out there. And I like to say, as a small business, I speak the language of small businesses. So I understand needing to be flexible. And if we work, some of our work is not contract, but some of our work is. And when we work on contract, it's month to month, because things come up, right? So if you need to shift some of your marketing dollars to something else, we completely understand that. And that's why we're flexible, because we're a small business and we get that. So digital marketing, what is this all about? It really is about reaching more people online, reaching out to current customers to help bring them back in the door, reaching out to new leads, bringing in new people that might need your products or services. So how do we do that? Today, we're going to discuss social media one-on-one. So what exactly is social media? What are the major platforms? And why do small businesses need to be on social media? That's a strong word here, but I'll discuss that further so you can understand why, if you're not there, what you're missing out on. So let's jump right in. What exactly is social media? Well, we know it's that thing that when we're bored, we start scrolling because, while we're watching Netflix and it's not an interesting part of the show, we're scrolling through to see what else is going on in the world. But what social media really is. So this is a quote from Investopedia, and I really like this a lot. It's: social media is a computer-based technology that facilitates the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information through the building of virtual networks and communities. Now, that's a big explanation here. So let's unpack that a little bit. So we know that it's online. So that's the first, the first part of this definition. The sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information. That's crucial. That's what this is all about. Sharing from a personal side, sharing pictures with your friends, people seeing pictures of their grandkids who live in another state, sharing thoughts about, recipes at the holidays and things like that. It's sharing information. And then this last part, through the building of virtual networks and communities. And we'll jump into that next. But what social media is not. Social media is not solely a platform to sell your products and services. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a place where you can do that. But if all you're doing is saying, buy my product, buy my service, social media isn't going to be the right platform for you, because what people are looking for is that sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, what ideas and thoughts and information do I have to share? Maybe you're an HVAC company and you want to remind people to change their filter to make sure that their air is clean in their home. You're an HVAC company and you have someone in the home with allergies. It might be important for you to remind people that having your ductwork cleaned is important to having clean air in your home. That's not saying, buy from me, buy from me. That's giving people information so they know how to have the healthiest, cleanest home. But by you putting out that information, you've helped them with something that affects them and their families in their home. So when they see that, they're more inclined to then follow up with you to say, yeah, I need someone to come do a checkup. I need someone to come check my ducts to make sure that that's clean for my family. Now, this last part, through the building of virtual networks and communities. And you may be thinking, I don't have a virtual network or a community. I don't have a community that I foster that, for HVAC, for example. Do we build a community around that? The word community, really what that means is people who have the same thoughts, the same ideas, or that want to have some of those ideas and thoughts from you. So the community part of it is building an audience of people who want your ideas, thoughts, and information, and who are willing to engage with you on that. So I would say just about any business could have that virtual network and community. It's not specific to maybe a business that has a group per se. Like if you do group coaching and you have an online group, it doesn't necessarily have to look like that. It could just be a community of people who are homeowners. If you're the HVAC company, people who want to make sure that their environment is healthy and clean. That's a lot different from selling. You're giving them information, but that information then makes them possibly cross that line to then purchase something from you, a service or a product that you offer. So when it comes to the sharing of thoughts, ideas, information, we tend to follow the rule of thirds. And you might have seen this before. It's very common in marketing, especially with social media. Promote, engage, and share. So the promote part, this is sharing about your business. This is, hey, we have a new product or service. Come buy from us. That's the part where you can sell. The other parts, sharing of information, letting people know, this is how my product or service can help you. Or if there's something big going on where people need to know, again, with the HVAC company, there's some concern about energy costs, right? So as energy costs go up, people are concerned that it's going to cost them more money. What can people do? As an HVAC company, you can share that information, share that costs are going up, but what can they do to keep their home from losing energy and save more money? Having an efficient HVAC system, having an efficient furnace, air conditioner, making sure that the ducts are clean, making sure that your home is properly insulated, that you're taking the right precautions to keep the heat and cool from exiting the home and keeping it in the home. Sharing information like that is very helpful. I know every once in a while I see something about, lower the thermostat, change the temperature in your home. That's that sharing of sharing information to let people know, this is how you can save money. Put on some socks and a sweater, and maybe you can save money over time. Now, let's follow this HVAC thing through to the engage part. So let's say I want to tell people, if you're concerned about your energy costs, maybe change your thermostat. So that's sharing information. But what about engaging? Maybe I pose a question of, what do you set your thermostat on in the summer, in the winter? Getting people talking. What is it they have their set on? What works for them? If you've had high energy costs, What's something that's worked for you? That engagement gives people the opportunity to share their ideas with each other, but it's back in that community that you've now created through your business. So selling obviously is part of it, but then also sharing these ideas, thoughts, information, and people engaging and sharing their ideas and thoughts and information. This is what social media was intended to be. So what are the major platforms? Now I'm going to share some of the obvious ones here, but we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into why this matters for a small business. Facebook is the big one. It's one of the ones that's been around the longest. Now, if you remember before Facebook, there were things like MySpace. So this isn't the first social media platform, but it's the one that's kind of stood the test of time. So Facebook still remains the largest social platform among consumers. Even as different ages are tapping into different platforms, Facebook is the one that has retained sort of the largest market share, if you will. And the largest age group here is 25 to 34. Now, why do we care about the age group that is within these social media platforms? It matters unto who you're targeting. If you're not targeting someone in a certain age group, then you might not want to be on a certain platform. And we'll jump a little bit deeper into that going forward. So here, Facebook users, you can see here, the 25 to 34 is the highest. But you block in some of these as well. If this is your target age range, let's see, 18 to 44. But then don't forget, I hear people say all the time, well, my target market isn't on social media. I disagree. A lot of people think, well, I have a client who is maybe 60 plus. They're not online. They are, and they're quite active because they're looking a lot of times to connect with family who's out of state, seeing pictures of the kids, the grandkids, community where they've, maybe they went to high school somewhere and were close with their high school friends and moved away as adults. Being able to stay connected, those people are online, whether you think they're there or not. It just may differ between different platforms. Instagram is now part of Facebook, which is actually called Meta now. The parent company is Meta. So this age group, the largest age group on Instagram, 25 to 34, and then below that, 18 to 24. So pretty similar to Facebook. Now, for the longest time, it was Instagram was the shiny new toy and was really popular with a younger demographic. But from what this, from Sprout Social, what they're saying is Instagram is no longer the hip network in the eyes of today's teenagers. They're moving to platforms like TikTok. They're looking for more entertainment. But Instagram still maintains a firm hold on Gen Z and millennials. Why is this important to know? Again, targeting your audience. Who is your demographic? And if they are a younger generation, maybe TikTok is where you want to be. If you're targeting Gen Z and millennials, Instagram is where you want to be. So again, this is important. This type of data is important for you to know because it helps you spend, for me, it's about spending your time and your marketing dollars in the place that really makes sense. So I like to say to get your message out in front of the right people in the right place on the right platforms at the right times. This data is important for you to know. LinkedIn. For years, we thought that LinkedIn caters to slightly older audience, a professional audience. But now millennials dominate the platform. And I think sometimes we forget when we think of millennials, I hear this quite often. And as a millennial myself, I'm like, people are like, oh, millennials they're so young and they're so lazy and they're so this and that. They were young. I'm knocking on 40 pretty soon. I still think I'm young. But when we think millennial, oftentimes we're thinking of teenagers, and that's not the case. This is a generation who is now grown up through social media, and they're using platforms like LinkedIn because it's important for them to be professional, to have a professional face reaching out into the digital market. So why does that matter? Why does that matter to you as a business? So the platform's demographic of high earning B2B professionals makes LinkedIn a potential gold mine for ads. If you're trying to reach B2B professionals, if you're trying to reach some of the decision makers for your product or service, this is the right platform for you. So this is important to know. And again, this skews still a little bit older, but look at these numbers. If you're trying to reach other businesses, if you're trying to reach, perhaps you're recruiting, or you're looking to get your software into a particular business, this would be the platform for you. Twitter, the largest age group that uses Twitter is 18 to 29. So Twitter seems to almost have reached its peak. So research predicts that Twitter will lose about 1 million users to other platforms over the next 5 years. When I think of Twitter, I think of larger like festivals and things like that. So South by Southwest, when South by Southwest is going on, people are live tweeting. I always hear live tweeting, right? So what that means is people are at an event and they're taking pictures and they're tweeting about what's happening. When I go to Digital Summit in Detroit, it's usually every October. I'm live tweeting, what's being said. Seth Godin was at one recently, and I'm tweeting the things that he's saying because I think it's so powerful. But does that reach my target audience? For my target audience, I don't think that reaches them. But what's important to realize is that this last part here, 1/3 of Twitter users are college educated and make more than $75K annually, highlighting the platform's highly educated and high earning base. So who would that possibly work for? Again, I'm thinking HVAC company, right? These probably young people moving, if they're not already in the housing market, moving into the housing market. I'm thinking insurance agencies. If people are wanting to be insured for that new home they're moving into, maybe they're for the business that they're in, whether they own that business or it's a larger business, this may be a good platform for you. And then again, looking at some of the demographics, it's skewed a little bit younger, but this is a generation that's, coming of age, if you will. They're following these rites of passage, getting cars, getting homes, and hopefully paying off their student loan debt. So they'll have more money to be able to be in the marketplace. So that's good to know if this is your demographic. And TikTok. Oh, I hear so much about TikTok. And here's my disclaimer. I watch TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, and I don't do TikTok for my clients, but I can talk to you about TikTok if that's something that you're interested in looking at. So the largest age group here is 10 years old to 19. So this skews very young. And this fact down here at the bottom, nearly 40% of Gen Z say they're directly influenced by products they see on TikTok. Now, how this may be different from other platforms, or if you've heard things about influencer marketing, what that means is someone who is an influencer. So they're highly popular. They could be, a movie star, TV star, but a lot of times they are YouTube and TikTok famous. Their fame comes from being on these platforms. And if they decide to say, oh, I really like this stapler, it's the best stapler in the world, and you should use it, their followers are going to jump on that. They're going to be purchasing online. Oh, she likes this stapler, I need to buy this stapler. So it's not just putting your product in front of someone. It's someone that's an influencer saying, I like this product, I enjoy this product. This is really strong for beauty brands. So your makeup, your hair products and things like that. It can be popular for a lot of different things. Now, is this going to be popular maybe for the local plumber? I'm not sure if you'll get a lot of traction there to get clients locally, but if you're really creative, this is a good platform for you. This isn't a platform where you think, oh, I'm just going to post something really quickly. If you've ever been on TikTok, and if you haven't, I would encourage you you don't have to get the app, but you could probably find some TikTok videos online. Just see what that platform looks like. If it feels right for you, then maybe you explore it for your brand. But if you'll notice, there's a lot of creativity, and it seems like a lot of humor that go into these. And if you're not very creative and not very humorous, then maybe TikTok isn't where you want to be. And again, this skews very young. It just boggles my mind, 10 years old to 19. When I was 10 years old, my favorite thing in the world was the clicky pen that had multiple different color inks. And now they're all over the internet. It's quite impressive. So that was just a couple of the platforms. There are so many more platforms out there. The ones I've talked to you about today are platforms that are really popular in the US. Maybe your brand reaches farther than the US, then maybe you need to explore some of the other platforms. And this is just a snapshot of what's out there. The list goes on and on. There are probably thousands of social media platforms out there. So I get this question all the time. What's the best social media platform for my business? Or people telling me, oh, well, my business isn't best suited for social media. I understand these arguments, but I argue that no, just about every business could have a place on social media. What really matters is your market. When we talk about market, we're talking about your audience. Who is it that you're marketing to? You need to have a clear picture of who you're marketing to. So let's say, let's go back to the HVAC company. I feel like I'm in an HVAC world today. Heating and cooling. So who's your market? Well, everybody's my market. Well, that's not necessarily true. That's true if this is a homeowner, that could be your market. But if you are a home renter, or if you are someone who's renting an apartment, or if you're someone who's renting office space, I'm not the market. I don't own the building. I may want it to be warmer or cooler in the place that I am, but I'm not the one making decisions about purchasing. So who is? Well, I have a broad market then. It's everyone who owns a home. That may be true, but if you're the HVAC company here locally in Southeast Michigan, are you targeting people in the UP? No. If you're not from Michigan, UP means Upper Peninsula. You're not targeting people outside of your local geographic area because with your business, you are working locally with clients, right? If you're someone who works nationally, then your market could be people all over the country. You really need to focus down on who your market is. That's their gender, their age, their location. And so let's look at some of these platforms by generation. The baby boomer generation. So you'll see, let's take one step back here. You'll see YouTube. There's some argument that YouTube is a social media network. In my opinion, it's more of a search engine network. People search for things on YouTube, but we'll play in what they're saying here. But you'll see the second largest is Facebook. That's huge, right? I hear people say, well, no, my client's not on any of these platforms. My dad is, I want to say 65. And he's on YouTube all the time. He's watching, first it was on his phone, and now it's on his smart TV. He's watching all kinds of, fishing videos and four-wheeler videos, ATV videos. And so your demographic is probably on one of these platforms, whether they skew, baby boomer generation to the younger generation. So Facebook, that's important here. Again, with Gen X, this is age 42 to 57. Same type of thing here, YouTube and Facebook. Millennials, 26 to 41, Facebook and Instagram. Are you seeing a pattern here? Facebook, Facebook, Facebook. Gen Z, ages 10 to 25, Instagram and TikTok. You seeing a pattern here? Instagram, Instagram. So if you're trying to get a broad market, in my opinion, Facebook and Instagram are the right platforms for you. And one of the benefits of working with both of these platforms is that now that Meta is now owning both of these platforms, they've made it easier for you to post on both platforms easily and seamlessly. So why does a small business need to be on social media? Your competition is on social media. If you're not there, they're getting your part of the market share. If you're not there, your customers and clients are moving on to the next person. And with some younger generations, if they go to check your social media and it hasn't been updated in a couple of years, they assume you're not in business. They assume that you're no longer, open. They're going to the next person. So do you really want to lose out on market share just because you don't want to spend the time? Or I know for some people, social media just rubs them the wrong way. They don't want to be a part of it. And that's fine personally, but for your business, I don't think you want to miss out on these customers that you could find on social media. Brand awareness. This is a fun term that we throw around in marketing. What does this really mean? Let's unpack this a little bit. Brand awareness, when we think of some of the larger companies, Coca-Cola, for instance, we recognize them. We recognize their brand colors. We recognize their logo, their name. When we see their logo, we know exactly what they are, who they are. We don't have to worry about, oh, well, what's the name of the business? We know who they are. Now, a lot of us would attain to reach that level of brand awareness, but you can do the same with your brand. Is your brand consistent? Is your logo consistent across the social media platforms? When you're sending emails or print marketing, is that consistent? So if I am looking in my mailbox and I receive something from you that's print marketing and I see your brand and your colors, excellent. Okay. But maybe I'm not in the mood for HVAC today. Maybe it's nice and comfy in my house. But then something goes wrong in my home. I'm scrolling through Facebook and there's my local HVAC company. I recognize their logo from other places that I've seen them. Yeah, my house isn't real comfortable. Maybe I'll give them a call. Seeing your brand over and over again helps increase that brand awareness to where you'll be top of mind. Being top of mind and staying on top of mind. So, my tooth hurts. Where do I go? I go to the dentist that either I see regularly or the dentist that's top of mind. Someone that maybe I've seen on Facebook. Maybe my neighbor mentioned a good dentist. Staying top of mind so that people go to you. You are now their go-to resource for whatever it is that you offer. Social media is your online storefront. Now, arguably, your website would be that. But whether or not you have a website, your social media platform is there. It's open 24/7. You don't have to respond to things 24/7. If someone pops on at midnight and asks a question about your hours, you don't have to respond to that to the next morning. But the fact is, you have a storefront there. When it's after hours, whatever your hours are, and someone can approach your business online, they're still making that interaction. If you're not online, again, they may move on to the next company that is online. They may want to make some of their decisions about, is this the right company for me? Is this the right business? Is this the right product? They want to make some of those decisions before they actually come through the door. Having this online presence helps them do that. I went to buy a new phone yesterday, and before I went to the store, I did the same thing. I knew what I was looking for, but I went to research exactly what it was that I wanted, the type of phone, how many gigabytes. Having that online storefront helped me go to the store to make that purchase. Nurturing current clients. When we think about our clients, oftentimes we think about getting new leads. But in terms of the cost and in terms of lifetime value of a client, when you retain a current client, you keep them coming back. Of course, that brings in more money to your bottom line. But in terms of advertising, the cost savings there, you're nurturing that relationship to where they will keep coming back to you, and you're not having to go out into the world and find new leads. We often forget this. And how do we do that on social media? It's, again, I think it's that sharing and engaging part where you're sharing information with them. And again, keep helping them keep you top of mind. So when they need you, they'll reach out. We're expecting a lot from people on social media because we're pushing information and hoping that they're going to receive that and act on it. And the best way to do that is really to nurture them and give them information that they're looking for. And of course, generating new leads. We want that, right? Even if we have the perfect lineup of current customers and clients, we always need new leads because there's some churn there. Some clients will leave and we'll need to bring in new clients. Having social media lets those new leads know who you are. Again, it's that online storefront. And some of these new leads comes in running ads. And again, like I mentioned, we mostly do organic content, but I can talk to you about positioning your ads to generate new leads. And again, it comes down to that market. And in that little diagram, the market, the message, and the media, what platforms you're going to use, what message you're going to use. So generating new leads is it's in terms of when we think about social media for businesses, that's what we tend to think of. So a moment to reflect. That's a lot of information. Some of it you may be thinking, yeah, I already knew that. Some of this may be new to you. Some of it may be, oh, well, I was kind of casting a wide net with my marketing. Maybe I need to reflect on my market, my message, and my media. And so the good news is I'm here to help you. Whether we work together as, you being a client, whether we work together as me being a resource for you, I am here to help you through that because it really is a lot of information. A lot of times when you Google social media for small business, you end up down the rabbit hole. I end up down the rabbit hole all the time when I'm online. You jump in, you try to figure out what should I do for a small business for social media? They'll give you tons of information. It may not apply to your business. And so I've created the Simple Savvy marketing system where I take all of this information and I try to make it, try to break it down to where it's, again, kind of the best bang for your buck, trying to make sure that we're taking your resources, your time, your money, your effort, and making sure that you're getting the best returns possible, that you're not throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks, right? That we're putting a plan in place of who we're trying to reach, how we're trying to reach them. And so part of my program here is the brand experience, really building up your brand before you jump into the marketing. And many companies have this in place already. But I'll give an example of where we could be throwing away marketing dollars. So you could, and this isn't from personal experience per se, this is just, a general idea. We want to throw marketing dollars. So we're marketing your business. But when someone comes in your business, they come to the door and the hours are not right. So the hours that are listed on your Google My Business page or the hours that are listed on your website are wrong. So they show up at a time they think you're open and you're not there. That's not a good experience for the customer. I arrive and I'm really excited about your product or service. And the person that I'm interacting with, I'm getting terrible customer service from. No matter how many marketing dollars we throw at that, if someone's having a bad experience, they're not going to move forward to purchase your product or service. That's a barrier in their way and they're not going to cross it. Once we get that sort of shaped up, then we move on to what we typically think of your marketing, planning what you're going to do, doing that thing, checking those results, and then acting and, shifting your marketing plan as needed. And so how can McArdle Media help you? I help my clients in a variety of ways. And it comes back to what I discussed earlier between empowering and engaging small businesses. If you want to do it yourself, if you're like, yeah, it's great, it'd be nice to have someone to do it for me. But one, maybe I don't have the budget, or two, maybe I don't have the time to interact with someone else. I just want to do it myself, or my business is my baby and I don't want to give it up. I honor and respect that. I own my business as well. It's hard for me to give things away in my business. So if you want to do it yourself, think of this as the HGTV version of social media. You want to knock down some walls and that type of thing. I have these webinars, a lot of free webinars. I also offer some one-on-one training. Tech tutoring has seemed to be a really big platform that I've used lately, where I sit with you one-on-one on Zoom and we walk through a specific tech issue that you're having, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, even Google Docs, the Google Drive. I've worked with people on that because that's where they're managing some of their marketing assets. Done with you kind of sounds it is what it sounds like. I work with you on your marketing. So we put some ideas together. There may be some coaching, consulting there, but you want to take the reins and still do some of it yourself. On the other end, done for you. You don't want to look at this social media stuff. You just want someone to do it. And that's where I'm there to help. And again, whether we work together as, you being a client or me just being a resource, know that I am here for you. If you have marketing questions in general, I have those referral partners that I work with closely who are really good at this stuff as well. So if you want to know more, about what we do here, about what can really work for your business, I have some upcoming webinars. We've got Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Oh my, the Google My Business as it's been known, but Google Business Profile, branding for small business, word of mouth, Facebook and Instagram, digital marketing as customer service. We have these upcoming webinars, again, all free. You can go to mcardlemedia.com/events to learn more about those. And if you really just want to learn more, this is what I'm doing. This is what's working and not. Jennifer, can you help me walk through this? Let's set up a free consultation. Let's talk about your business, how you want to be positioned, who you want to reach, and put together a plan for you. This is free. I'm not a high salesy person, and so I'm definitely here as a resource. If you want to reach out to do this, that's mccardlemedia.com/contact, and we can set up an appointment. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for attending my webinar. Thank you for taking the time to do something to help your business. If you want to follow up, the best way to reach me is to go to the website. My contact information is there. And again, I'm happy to be a resource for you. I'm going to check the chat. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to stay on and answer a couple of those questions for you. If you want to email me with some of those questions, you can reach me again through the website. My email is Jennifer, JENNIFER, at mccardlemedia.com. That's MCARDLEMEDIA.com. If you have any questions, I am here for you. Again, thank you so much for those of you who stuck through the whole thing. I know sometimes that can be hard. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you. Oh, thank you to all of you. How kind. I love your kind words. That means a lot. Thank you. All right, I don't see any questions coming through. If you do have questions, again, email me, Jennifer@mccardlemedia.com. And hopefully I'll see you at the next webinar. Take care.